Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspaces. And this headspace is called Someone Has Shot Charlie Kirk. What's that about? So before I jump into this headspace, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who has been liking, sharing and commenting on my content on my YouTube channel. I now have 2,001 subscribers. I'm so happy about that because it's taken me from February of this year till now to build those 2,000 subscribers, and it's a real joy to see people listening, enjoying my content, liking and sharing, but also growth. So thank you so much for that. If you are interested, please do press the notification buttons and select all, and you'll see all of my uploads. I am very partial to 3 Wings and Chips, so do please make a donation to the show. I would be very partial, like I said, to 3 Wings and Chips and a Miranda. If you want to stretch to a Bitcoin, I'm more than happy to accept. So now that that's all done, let's jump all into this. Now, doing my research for the show, I came across this bit of information. I am not familiar with Charlie Kirk in the sense that I have seen him online, but what I'm not doing is listening too much to what he said and who he is. I've just recognized his face. I've now learnt that he is a right-wing influencer. I think in the image of Ben Shapiro and that other guy, I can't recall his name. Anyway, in relation to him, I think he's like that. He's got 5.4 million subscribers. And what he was doing and what he has been doing is he's been talking quite a lot to young people in their spaces, in and around their universities. And he has quite right-leaning views. Now, what's happened to Mr. Kirk is that he was shot. So today he was at a student event in Utah, and from the news reports I have seen so far, he was shot, effectively assassinated, while he was sitting talking to the students. And I think it's important to say that given that this story is where it is, Mr. Kirk does have a family and he does have a wife and partner, and they are now without their father. So that is a significant loss to the family. But what I wanted to talk more about was the fact that he was assassinated, and the fact that somebody decided to take a shot at him in an open air event with the primary focus, presumably, of silencing because they don't like what he's saying and they don't like his opinions. I mean, I don't know the basis of it, but one can only assume if you're trying to remove, the breath from somebody with a rifle, there's something about them that you're not very keen on. And apparently that happened with Mr. Kirk. He was shot in the neck. And I was drawing some parallels with the assassination attempts of Mr. Trump. From the news reports, this person was on high ground. He was on a roof. The victim was out in the open. They were saying things that he clearly didn't like, and potentially he was influencing lots of people because he's got 5.3 million followers. And a very interesting statistic I heard the other day is that with the votes that are going to be given to 16 and 17-year-olds in the in England, the vast majority of those young people, not in the inner cities, they are reform voters. Yeah, they like reform. They like those types of politics, because if you think about who they're watching online, they're not watching Ian Dale or James O'Brien. No Martha Carney, and definitely not Evan Davis. They're watching Mr. Kirk and the litany of other individuals who share his opinions. So to me, this is going to, for want of a better word, radicalise more the potential voters who are listening to Mr. Kirk. Mr. Kirk was very pro gun ownership, and he was very also pro supporting the actions of Mr. Netanyahu in the occupied territories in Gaza. But what I'm concerned about is why he was shot. What was the thinking in removing Mr. Kirk? Whomever decided to engage in this act, and when I saw that they had apprehended somebody, the person they had on their knees looked like a pensioner. And that's not to say that pensioners don't have, murderous intentions. But it comes in a line with lots of assassination attempts. And I think this is maybe there's more of this to come as potentially interested parties become more and more desperate if you can't get the person to work with you in the way you want. So for those people who are right-wing leaning in their politics, they're going to see Charlie Kirk as a martyr. Anything he said, wrote, appeared in will become immensely valuable, whether it was noteworthy or not. And it's going to be interesting to see how people respond to the assassination of this person, Mr. Kirk. Just as an incidental sidebar, many left-wing activists are often assassinated. You don't even know about it. Why? Because they don't have the prominence that the right-wing ones get. And that should also be in your mind as to how come he was able to be Charlie Kirk with 5.3 million followers. How did he get to being that person? That doesn't diminish from the experience he had, which is basically he's been removed and he actually has been assassinated. However, you do have to ask yourself, how come only specific people have that Midas touch? And is it really a genuine Midas touch? Or is it a curated, funded and sponsored Midas touch? You work with people through a series of years, programs and activities. And as a consequence of that, they rise to the top, oh so slowly, but most definitely. So that's my 2 pence on it. What's yours? Jump up in the comments, like, share and retweet or re-X. Make a donation at deniseheadley.com or jump all up in the YouTube. And I would love to receive a piece of Bitcoin. See you next week, darlings. And cut. Oh yeah, thank you for your listening ears.